Man, major fail there. So to start the show, I do not have myself pulled up, and then I start myself on mute when I do pull myself up. So a good start. But thank you guys so much for hopping in and joining me tonight. We're at the thick of it here. We're at elimination week. It is a very pivotal week for a lot of people. If you've secured a buy and you're really just playing for cash, maybe your league has seeding cash where first seed gets X amount of dollars. I play in leagues where every seed gets some sort of money, depending on where they place going into the playoffs, and then then the winners of the whole thing get money. Also, I have leagues where if you have a first round bye, you play the other first round bye team for like $100, $150. So there's a lot of different things. But if you are kind of in a good spot, be thankful because this is a tough week to really need a win in fantasy football. There are a lot of buys. We have the Patriots on a bye. We have the Giants on a bye. We have the 49ers on a bye. We have another team on a bye, but it keeps escaping me. The fourth team on a bye. So if you're here in the chat, remind me, please. Zach Lynn's in the house. What's up, Zach? Good to see you, man. But as of for today's show, I mean, really, I'm going to go over my rankings today and talk a little bit about the games, answer start quick questions as we go through the rankings. So happy to answer whatever you might have, as we're kind of going along here. But yeah, I guess to kind of start things off, let's go over to the quarterback rankings because the quarterback rankings, quarterback is so important this week. Um, you know, you look at the guys that are missing. We have no Drake May this week. We have possibly no Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert, I think, is gonna play. There's a possibility no Justin Herbert. No Brock Purdy, and this is a bad week. Maybe we get Jane Daniels back, uh, but this is tough. I mean, I put it out on Twitter the other day, yesterday, but a lot of people right now are deciding whether they start Tyler Shuck, Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Mariota, um, Tua Tagovailoa, Shedeur Sanders. I mean, this is a really, really weird week in fantasy football, and the NFL did us no favors with buys. Obviously, they can't control the injuries, but this is a really, really tough week. And I have my rankings here. These are early rankings. These rankings always get tweaked a little bit before, on Sunday morning when guys get ruled up, ruled down, offensive line get you know ruled in, defense. It all plays a factor. This is a really good skeleton and a really strong early look of where I have things at the moment. And so, as I said, I'm going to answer questions as they come in here. I already see questions coming in, so I'll start pulling some of these right now. I see Jared, I see Shorty, I see Locke, Mike Locke. So I'm going to answer you guys, and we'll start going from there. So Jared Fortin's in the house, and my cat, who has literally not been here all night long, and decided to pop in obviously right now because that's just my luck. This is how the year has been. Um, Jared said, "How are you?" Good, Jared. Do you think there's concern with Hampton playing is still in a non-contact injury? No, I think Hampton's going to play. I know I put out a tweet as a joke with the Infinity War, Infinity Stones thing. If getting Trey Benson back, getting Hampton back. I think like 50% of the players that I put in that BTJ did come back, but it didn't matter. A lot of the players I think I put in that didn't even end up coming back. But I've said all along, I think Hampton, I thought with the bye week, I thought he was going to miss one more week on top of the bye, and then he was going to come back. I think he comes back this week. Um, they need him. They need him. He's had plenty of time off. I think they're just being cautious with the non-contact injury, non-contact uniform, but I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play. Shorty said, was about to drop Burden. for Boutte in prep for the playoffs, but with Junse's DNPs, not sure I shouldn't hold Burden now. I agree. I think you should hold Luther Burden. I had talked about this early in the season. I didn't really want to roster Luther Burden to start the year because I didn't think Luther Burden was going to have an impact on fantasy early on. And I thought in a lot of leagues, if you draft Burden, you're going to wind up dropping him halfway through the year or earlier because of just the fact that, it's just the sheer fact alone that I thought he got a slow start to camp and there's bodies around him. And so I think we're at this time now, though. Now we do get an injury, and now we get an injury with Roma Dunze, DJ Morris slowed down, and Luther Burden is starting to play more and more. Give me 1 second. Now I got to get that out of here because I'm trying to give you a take. And I'm distracted. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. All right. All right. Troy says there's some audio cutting in and out on Twitter. If there's any audio issues, let me know, guys, if you hear it as well. I appreciate that, Troy. But yeah, so talking about Luther Burden for just a moment here, right? He kind of becomes a little bit of a hot name, and this is a guy that fantasy Twitter kind of pumped up, or fantasy analysts kind of pumped up a lot before the year. I'm not gonna pat myself on the back. I wasn't one of them. I liked Burden coming in, coming out of college, but I just didn't love the landing spot. I didn't like the way camp was starting off, with the injuries. It just felt like the slow start was like imminent for him. And it's kinda went the way I've expected, but it's hard to ignore, right? Luther Burden, 5 minimum of 5 targets the last 3 weeks. 5, 5, 6. You know, he's running the routes. I mean, the biggest problem is he was not as active, in terms of routes run, last it's a start the year, right? Because you had Zaccheaus that was in the mix. Before week 10, Luther Burden didn't have more than 15 routes run. Over the last 4 weeks, he's had 20 or more routes run. He is in this offense now. I think he is this is the sign is here. He is going to play down the stretch here. I think he's earned it. I think he's won that job over Zaccheaus. And with the Burden's kind of become a little bit of the sacrificial lamb in this offense. The targets are coming, but him and Caleb, they're just not connecting. And Luther Burden has kind of got the schemed up, easy, low A dot plays where get him in space and let him make a play. That's kind of what we're seeing. I'm going to answer Mike's question now, and then I'm going to go to my quarterback rankings here, talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go continue to answer some questions. Mike said, "Hey Pete, I didn't see it in the Discord, but has anyone posted a list of playoff waiver wire stashes? If I win this week, I'm in. I lose, season's over. Hoping to go in with a win and some momentum." Mike, I don't think anybody has posted some waiver wire stashes for the playoffs. I can absolutely get something together and put some stuff in there if that's what you want. I'm more than happy to do so. So just make sure you ping me in the Discord so that way I remember after the show to go make sure that we do that. So appreciate that, Mike. Uh, so talking about the quarterback rankings a little bit here, and then we're going to get into some of the other questions. So hang tight. Um, let's see. The audio is wavy. All right, hold on. I see. Oh, you know what? I got it. Okay, that should be better. If it's not better, let me know. Sorry about that. Uh, Yeah, sorry about that. That should be better. Let me know if it's not, and I'll go back and see if there's anything I can fix. But these are my rankings so far. Um, so right now I have Josh Allen at number one. Now there's no consensus here. You're not going to see consensus. These are my rankings, which obviously are a little bit different than consensus. But I have Josh Allen at one. Josh Allen's going up against Cincinnati. What more needs to be said? This is a high game total in this one. I'm expecting Josh Allen to, you know, play well, right? I mean, I know it's been a little bit up and down. Okay, all is clear. Perfect. I know it's been up and down for Josh Allen, but I'm expecting a good week from him. Then I have Dak Prescott at number 2 here. And Dak Prescott, he's going up against the Lions tonight. Another game, very high total. These two quarterbacks are both in the highest point totals on the week. And Dak Prescott, you look at the last 3 weeks from him. I mean, 24.3, 28.1, 21.6. I mean, it's really hard not to put Dak in as a top 5 quarterback this week. This offense has been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal. And I mean, over 300 yards in back-to-back weeks. So I'm expecting Dak to have a good week in this one. I like the matchup for him. Thursday night games, we have seen some um we've seen some good Thursday night football games lately. We've seen some points put up in these games, and so I like Dak this week a lot. Let's move over to the rest of the rankings here. And I have Jalen Hurts at number 3 here. This is a little tricky. There's definitely a possibility that Hurts moves down in this one. I have Hurts. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I am the utmost confident in Jalen Hurts this week. I know it's been a little bit strange, but when I look at Jalen Hurts and I look at his production over the last couple weeks, right, it's been spotty, right? 17.3 fantasy points last week, not bad, but ranked 15th on the week. Week 12 against Dallas, 30.9 points, ranked number 2 on the week. Then he had 2 weeks where 14.5, 12. Then he had 25, 24, 21, 19, 19, 29, right? Like, is the squeaky wheel theory here? Is the world falling? Is the sky falling in, Philadelphia? I think this game could be a little bit higher scoring than what people are expecting in this one. When you look at the Chargers, they have given up so far this year. They're 9th in points allowed to the quarterback position, 19.6. And when it comes to quarterbacks running, they've given up 369 yards rushing to the quarterback position. So I have Jalen Hurts at 3. There's a possibility he goes down slightly, but not extremely likely. Mahomes is another guy. I'm locked in on Stafford. Got Stafford at 4. He might even go ahead of Hurts, but I feel good about Stafford. He's just too hot right now. Mahomes is a guy that's a little sketchy. He's been good for fantasy, but he's missing both of his tackles against Houston. So while we're here, I'm going to do this live. I'm going to drop down Mahomes slightly. So and it always helps when you're doing these rankings in your mind. When you're talking it out loud, it starts to kind of get a little bit easier moving guys up and down. But I'm going to move Mahomes down slightly. I like Jared Goff. I'm going to move him behind Goff. I expect a high total in that one. I like Burrow. I'm going to move him behind Burrow. I'm going to put him right ahead of Knicks. Put him right ahead of Knicks here at 7. I think 7's a fair spot for Patrick Mahomes. I love Burrow. Another one in a high game. You look at Josh Allen and Burrow. I expect a ton of points in that game. Ton of points in that game. Jacoby Brissett, he's been on fire. I mean, I'm skipped over Knicks because, look, Knicks has a good matchup. I don't need to tell you that. He didn't play well last time against the Raiders. He's looked like a much better quarterback since, the last 2 weeks. But Jacoby Brissett, going up against the LA Rams. This one's interesting because the Rams are the Rams. Like they are a good defense. And it's crazy. We're at this point in the year where we're literally sitting here saying Jacoby Brissett is a top quarterback right now. But it's the truth. And when you look at the Rams, defensively, they have been good this year, right? I mean, this is a good defense. And I think part of why I have Jacoby as high as I do is number one, he's been great this year. But number two, the Rams 20.2 points allowed per game to the quarterback position. So they have given up fantasy points to the opposing players. And so give me 1 second here. Actually, I need to make sure I might have this flip-flopped here. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I think I had that flip-flop. So the total points allowed for that one, disregard that. believe that was incorrect. But Jacoby Brissett, looking at him and his body of work, number one, I think they're chasing points in this one. I don't think Arizona's defense has a answer for Jacoby Brissett. And oh my gosh, I don't think Arizona's defense has an answer for Matthew Stafford. Now, looking at what Jacoby Brissett's done, I mean, since he's been a starter, he hasn't finished outside of the top 12, which is absolutely insane. He's put up great numbers. Now, looking at some of these matchups the last 3 weeks, he's had good matchups. I mean, these secondaries have been bad against the quarterback. But I mean, 452, 317, 301. I mean, these are not the types of numbers we're used to seeing the last few years from quarterbacks. I mean, there was a time where, somewhere around like from 2015-ish to, the 2020, like there was like a 5-year span where like quarterbacks, it was like there was you'd have a couple quarterbacks a week throwing for 300. Now with this too high shell, all these defenses are keeping everything in front of you. You're just not seeing it nearly as much. Now, okay, I do see that there is a super chat, so let me grab that in just 1 second. Just hang on there. But as for Jacoby Brissett, like I said, closing out on that, I have him where I have him ranked. I have him decently high. LA Rams are giving up 15.3 points to the quarterback position. Now, they've pretty much, I mean, 2,712, 16 touchdowns. I mean, they're middle of the pack in terms of touchdowns allowed to quarterbacks. They're giving up a little bit more than one a game, about 1.5. Let's move over to the other quarterback rankings, but I'm going to pull the super chat. And I'm going to put the quarterback rankings on the screen so you can see that. So we do have a super chat from Juan Dier, and Juan Dier says, flex one player here. Swift, Sutton, A.D. Mitchell, Devonta Smith, and for the defense, Ravens or Titans. So I'll answer the easy one for me first. And the easy one for me is going to be the defense. And the defense, I have the Ravens ahead of the Titans. I had the Titans at 14. It's below consensus. Consensus has them at 11. I get it. The Browns, it feels like a juicy matchup. But I also worry that Quinshon Judkins, they might give him 30 touches in this one. And it limits the amount of sacks that we get, and it limits the amount of turnovers that we get. This is not a game where the Browns are going to have to throw the ball a ton because they're going to be chasing points because they're going to keep the points low from the Titans. Good defense, bad offense. So I don't have the Titans higher than the Ravens. So that would be the easy part of the question to answer. Now, as for the flex, let's just see. I didn't order the flex rankings here today so far. I do that at the end of the week. But let's just see, did they auto-generate my flex rankings based on what I have in my regular rankings? So the machine, I'm going to guess the machine probably has Sutton. No, does not have Sutton the highest. Machine has Swift. Maybe it's Devonta. No. The machine has Swift the highest. I'm gonna go with Courtland Sutton. I get it. This is one of those things with Sutton where he's been confusing, and the last time he played against the Raiders, it wasn't a good game. Sutton has cooled down tremendously. Heck, a lot of these receivers that were Emeka Egbuka, Rome Odunze, Courtland Sutton, a lot of these receivers that weren't the top 3 round guys that were really hot, they've cooled down a lot. I mean, Courtland Sutton, when you look at his fantasy points, last week he had 17 points. Before that, he hadn't gone over 11 points one time since week 7. Started the season off really hot, then he cooled down. The targets have been there the last 2 weeks that he's played. 8 targets and 6 targets. This past week, 1 touchdown, 5 catches, 62 yards. Now, Devonta Smith is sketchy this week. The Chargers, they have limited the wide receivers when it comes to points given up. I mean, they really have. Chargers have been stingy to the wide receiver position. They have good corners. I mean, they clamp down pretty well. They have a good defense there, Jesse Minter and the Chargers. Chargers right now are the toughest defense in football against fantasy wide receivers. 24.7 points per game to opposing wide receivers in fantasy. So I have concerns about Devonta Smith. I have him below. I'm below consensus on Smith. It's really between Swift for me and Courtland Sutton. I understand AD Mitchell feels like a good play this week. I'm not going to tell you he's not. But I'm going to go, if you want the safe play, go with DeAndre Swift. But the concern is Kyle Monangai is heating up, and they are pretty much in a 50-50 split right now. So you're not getting all the volume with Swift that you had hoped. And he's got a tough matchup this week against the Packers. Courtland Sutton has a great matchup this week against the Raiders. The problem is that the Broncos offense has been very consistent on who is going to be the guy to trust. Right now, it's Bo Nix and it's RJ Harvey. Those are the two most trusted guys in the offense. And it's like Russian roulette with everybody else. Evan Ingram was a good guy last week. So was Sutton, right? And Troy Franklin was a dud. So I'm going to go with Sutton here. But if you want to go the safe floor play, then I think it's DeAndre Swift. But I'm going to go with Courtland Sutton. I do appreciate the super chat. I hope I answered that for you. Mills said, make sure we get the likes up. 4 likes, but only with 16 people watching. Let's do better. Yes, appreciate that. Let's get the likes up if you guys are here. Let me answer a couple more questions, and then I'll get back to the rest of the rankings. Well, and obviously the next one was from Mills. Said, almost missed you on stream. I have Tampa Bay, Miami, Washington. Which defense to keep, either Miami or Washington after week 15? Lastly, Breece Hall or Judkins, 10-4 coming. It's a good record. Tampa Bay is the obvious keep here, which clearly you know. Now, in terms of Washington or Miami, I would keep Miami. Washington's defense is just not very good. They're a good play this week, but they're just not very good. It would be Miami. I'd be curious to know who else is available. Because Tampa Bay is better than all 3 of them. So I'd be curious to know if there's anybody else out there, but Miami would be the one. If it's between them and Washington, I would keep Miami. Now, Breece Hall or Quinshon Judkins. So let's go to my running back rankings. And I told you how much I like Judkins this week. I have him at 11. I do like Breece Hall a lot this week too. I have Breece Hall at number 9. When you look at the running back position, and even if I just sort it, sometimes I like to shorten the sample size up. I mean, I like to look at the NFL in quarters. So I generally try my best to look at the last 4 weeks. Now, if I do the last 4 weeks and we look at points allowed in PPR to the running back position, and Breece Hall is going up against the Miami Dolphins. Miami feels like a smash, right? Miami was the team to target. Like, Miami was everyone was going off against Miami. Like, it was insane. I think people have kind of been jaded though. And and I have Hall at 9. So don't get me wrong. I like Breece Hall this week, but I wouldn't be surprised if we were disappointed. Miami Dolphins are 30 right now. 30 when it comes to points allowed to running back position. They are the 3rd hardest defense over the last 4 weeks in points allowed to the running back position. Now, who has Miami played? They just played the Saints, right? So that gives them a boost. Absolutely. I'm not going to try to tell you that that doesn't matter. I'm trying to pull up the schedule here really quick to see who else they have played. That maybe that skewed some of that. But if you look, they played Washington and the Saints, two offenses with bad run games. So definitely fair. Then they played Buffalo, and then they played Baltimore. So they played Buffalo, one of the hottest running teams in the NFL. James Cook's been on fire. Baltimore, Derrick Henry, right? And then prior to that, they played Atlanta with Bijan Robinson. And Bijan didn't have a great game that week either. So Miami's defense is not the defense that we were targeting as heavily as we were in the past. Over that span of time, the last 4 weeks, Miami has given up 0 rushing touchdowns, 0, and 0 receiving touchdowns. So there is some concern, right? So I say all that to say, as we dig a little bit deeper, I am going to put Quinshon Judkins ahead of Breece Hall. And let's take a look at the rushing points for the Titans, which is crazy to say. The Titans are 31. They're not much easier. They are not much easier, but they do have given up touchdowns. They've given up 2 touchdowns to the running back position. I think the biggest thing here has been more so Miami's been in some games where there's been higher scoring, right? Titans have been in some games that there hasn't been as high scoring. You would think they would pound the rock. And in this case, Titans loading the box up to stop the run. Miami has been stopping the run just because they're better at stopping the run now than they once were. So I do these rankings, and I sometimes maybe it's emotional, but I try to make the best decisions I can. But I still would put Saquon Barkley behind both. So I jumped up Judkins 2 and I bumped back Breece Hall 1. I think that's fair. Saquon has been extremely disappointing. Chargers, I get it. Chargers, they've been kind of up and down defensively, but still 20.9 points per game allowed to running backs. They've given up, and this is now last 4 weeks. They've been up and down, but we'll see. We'll see. Appreciate the question. Let's check out a couple more here. Yes, I answered that one. Let's see. Buzz Rowe. I know a Nick Buzzo. I went to high school with a Nick Buzzo, but I do not know a Buzz Rowe. So I'm going to answer this question. Then we're going to go through my running back rankings a little bit here. And actually, let me go ahead and timestamp the running backs because we did kind of you've seen the running back rankings a decent amount already. So let's go. I think I probably started talking about them a couple minutes ago. Whatever. The life of a podcaster who's doing it on his own. And I haven't even really been drinking my beer. I actually had like 1 sip before the show started. I have not been drinking much. I've been trying to get into a little bit better shape. Let's see. No worries if you can't answer all of this. Running back 1 is Hampton, Warren or Neal. Quarterback, Jaden Daniels or Stafford. Tight end, Parkinson or Harold Fannin. Flex, Warren, Neal, A.D. Mitchell, Zay Flowers. Okay. So I am 100% starting Hampton. No Jalen Carter this week. If you look at my running back rankings here, I have Hampton at 16. That's way out ahead of consensus. Maybe consensus comes to their senses when they start to feel more confident that he's going to play. But I have him at 16. Now, I have Devin Neal at 24. I think Devin Neal is a low-end RB2. I like Devin Neal. When I said I'm going to unload the clip on Devin Neal, I don't regret picking him up and dropping a ton of FAB on him because I don't know if Kamara's coming back this year. Maybe not. I don't know. He hasn't practiced this week. He's got a knee injury. I don't know why they would rush him back. The season's over. He's an older running back. If they want to keep him for the future, I don't really understand why you would press it, but to each his own. But Devin Neal, you're not going to find many starting running backs this late in the season. But I do have Devin Neal as a low end fringe RB2. So I'm at 24. Jaylen Warren. Where do I have him? I believe he's somewhere around here, but my eyes are just deceiving me right now. Where are you, Jaylen Warren? Oh, dude. Jaylen Warren was one spot at Devin Neal. Okay. Been one of those nights. All right. So I would have Hampton ahead of both guys, which you can clearly see here. So that would be the answer for that. And then Jaden Daniels, Matthew Stafford. I'm going with Stafford. Stafford's a good play this week either way. Daniels, maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't, but he's going up against Minnesota. I think I like the play for Marcus Mariota. First game back for him. I'm not messing with that. I would go with Stafford, who's been extremely hot and consistent, and I don't really love the Arizona Cardinals defense. And then for the flex, I would honestly flex. Ooh, let me go back here. Yeah, Warren's playing against Jacksonville. If I remember correctly, Jacksonville is pretty bad against tight ends. Maybe I don't remember correctly. Let's see. Yeah, they're eighth when it comes to points allowed in the last 4 weeks to the tight end position. They've given up just one touchdown in that span, 14.5 points per game per fantasy points data. So I would go with Zay Flowers though. I don't know. I'm just if Lamar doesn't play, of course, we're not going Zay Flowers. It would be Tyler Warren. Um, you could argue even AD Mitchell, but I would go with Warren still. Um, Zay Flowers feels like a really just something about it, man. I mean, stinker last week, gets a touchdown call back. Offense is kind of in shambles a little bit. If Lamar plays, I would go with Zay Flowers. I know that's the upside play. That is absolute upside play. Um, and let's see, Amon Ra is active tonight. Holy smokes! Oh man, that changes a lot of stuff. Ah man, I'm gonna need some time to process that. I know I'm gonna get some questions on Tesla. Uh, yeah, man. Oh, it sucks. All right, whatever. Damn it. Hold on. Give me a second, folks, because now I gotta. There was a player I dropped for Tesla, and I gotta think this about this now. I had to get man. Yeah. Okay. That sucks. I'm not saying he's a bad play. I mean, who knows what I'm on Ross St. Brown, but I have him as a top 30 play this week, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he is now. So that's going to have to be changed. Um, dang, I'm in bad shape in this league. I have so many buys. All right, I guess I'm firing up Luther Burden in that league over. So I would start Luther Burden over Tesla with this news. Now, Tesla could still very much be involved, but while we're here, let me tweak down that ranking so that I don't forget. Um, now you're seeing some of the wide receiver rankings. Let's take a look here. Tesla, where are you? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would play Metcalf over him. I'd play Jaden Reed. I'd play Debo, Godwin, Romeo Dobbs. I would play. Yeah, put him right there. I'd play Mechie over Tesla. Oh shoot, that did not mean to do that. Rome is tough. If Rome doesn't play, Luther is shooting up. Um, ah, yeah, I'm gonna put Tesla behind these guys as well. If I throw him down about yeah, about right in front of Trey Tucker. That feels right. That feels about right. Okay, let's see what we got. Further Stranger Things. I have CD as well. I'm going with Brenton Strange. Brenton Strange, I love the matchup this week for him. I'm going with Brenton Strange. Dicker McPherson. I like Dicker. Hoff is the guy. You know, he put out his rankings, but I would go with Dicker if it were me. Country Boy said, let's see. I'm gonna also give this a scroll down so you guys can see a little bit more of those rankings. There you go. All right, let's see. Start who? One quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, one flex. Purdy, Mahomes. Yeah, I mean, Purdy's not playing this week. CMC's not playing this week. Uh, Aaron Jones might not play this week. So Benson's not playing this week. So you're probably playing Walker, Rodriguez, and Mahomes. Diggs not playing this week. Jennings not playing this week. Terry McLaurin and Olave. Uh, uh, Alec Pierce I really like too. So I would flex Alec Pierce. And then I would go Darren Waller over Barner, and I would go with I think the Rams defense of the Bucks. I don't know. They're in my rankings somewhere. I just posted them, so take a look. They're on the community page. Let's see. Fire Bros said, which of these four wide receivers should I sit? AJ Brown, Michael Wilson, Nico Collins, Christian Watson. Oh gosh. I mean, you see how high I am on Christian Watson. AJ Brown, Michael Wilson, Nico's up there. I mean, for me, I'm sitting Michael Wilson, but I am sitting Michael Wilson. Yeah, I am. I like Christian Watson a ton. Um, Christian Watson, I was super high on him on Thanksgiving. Hopefully, if some calls I missed, Devin Neal was a miss last week. Christian Watson was a hit. Hopefully, you started Christian Watson. I was very, very high on him last week. But just looking at Christian Watson, what he's done, I mean, 20 points, 10 points, 18.3 points. I mean, he's been really good. 5 targets, 7 targets, 10 targets. He's had 3 touchdowns the last 3 weeks. I like me some Christian Watson. I mean, he without Tucker Kraft, Christian Watson is the red zone guy. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, there's really nobody else in the red zone besides Josh Jacobs. So it hurts, but I'm sitting Michael Wilson. I get maybe sitting AJ, but I would not be sitting Christian Watson or Nico right now. I absolutely love those plays. My father's calling me because we're playing each other. Me and my dad are like 2 of the best teams in his league. That's a 14-man, and we're playing each other this week for the 1 seed pretty much. And he's got St. Brown, so I know he's calling me to talk about it. We'll get there. AD Mitchell or Jaden Higgins full point PPR. I've AD Mitchell ahead of Jaden Higgins. So let me. We're kind of in the wide receiver rankings now, so let me timestamp that for wide receiver rankings. Yeah, I mean, I like AD Mitchell this week. I have him at 25. Love my boy Jaden Higgins. I have him at 39. Could be the week where he slows down a little bit. I mean, if Jaden Higgins keeps it up, I mean, man, I love Jaden Higgins. I was super, super high on him coming into the year. It was honestly my favorite prospect to scout. This is my first real year scouting prospects, and I fell in love with Jaden Higgins. A guy that size should not be able to move that well, that fluid either. Doncic, should I pick up Jaden Daniels or Burrow off waivers? This is I mean, let me check the schedule, but I don't know. I like the idea of Burrow being healthy and with a bad defense. I don't know what Jaden Daniels is going to look like. I know Burrow looked really good. 21 fantasy points in his first game. Shitty defense. He's got Buffalo this week, but then he gets Baltimore, Miami, and Arizona. So those are good matchups. For the rest of the way. Now, Jaden Daniels, I'm probably leaning Burrow, because I mean, I don't know. I mean, Daniels has got banged up like 3 times this year. Missed 2 games earlier in the year, week 3, week 4. Then he missed the Kansas City game. Then he came back, and then he got hurt again. Oh man, I don't know. He's got the Giants in the first week of the playoffs, and he's got Philly and Dallas, an NFC East tour. Who set up this schedule? The schedule makers were really banking on the Washington Commanders to be really good this year, and not to say they shouldn't have been. I mean, the injuries definitely screwed them over. But I mean, geez, I mean, holy crap! All NFC East games. They put their entire divisional schedule at the end of the season. Giants, Philly, Dallas, Philly twice there, because I'm sure they were assuming that those could be massive games at the end of the year. But I mean, the Giants, Philly, and Dallas. I take back what I said. I would pick up Daniels over Burrow just because of that. Normally, I would err on the side of give me the guy that's healthy right now, but yeah. Let's see. I need a boom week in the flex. Am I crazy to start Isaac Tesla over Travis Etienne? You're crazy now if you do. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Tesla is not going to play well. Who knows? We don't know how St. Brown could be limited. But what I would say is Travis Etienne didn't have a good week last week, but he's been very, very good, and he can still give you a boom. So I'm rolling with Travis Etienne. Fighting solves everything. Okay. Burrow, CMC, JT, QJ, Woody, Monty, Puka. Should I add or drop Bam? Should I add or drop anyone to pick up Bam, Godwin, Mike? Well, you need to pick up Michael Wilson. That is for sure. I know you're handcuffing CMC. I know it's painful. Honestly, if you want to keep the B Rob handcuff, I mean, you have JT, you have Quentin Johnson, you have CMC. I would drop Woody Marks. You're not starting Woody Marks over any of those three as long as they're healthy. So I would be dropping Woody Marks for Michael Wilson. That would be 100% what I would do. Outside of that, the rest, and you're a little bit light at wide receiver. Maybe you could drop B Rob at that point. If you're really, really hell bent on keeping the CMC protection, drop Monty and go pick up. Well, no, but you got Michael Wilson in that scenario. So yeah, you're good. Michael Wilson, I would drop Woody Marks for Michael Wilson based on what this team is that you have here. I like Monty just because he's in a high end offense in case Jahmyr Gibbs gets hurt. And Henderson's in a good offense too. Woody's in the worst offense here, and the upside has just not been there. And you're never going to start Woody over those three. So I would be picking up Michael Wilson. Rams defense, or should I play Ravens or Titans or Eagles? I'm going with the Rams. St. Brown is playing Albert. What's up, brother? Yeah, I need to drop JMO down now. Where do I have JMO? Where do I have Jameson Williams? Oh my God, I have him at 4. Oh gosh. I don't want to overreact, but I definitely need to drop him down. Oh man. That feels okay for now. I might change that, but I think for now I'd have JMO ahead of Jefferson still. It's still JMO's boom bust, right? But if St. Brown's healthy, I mean it's just what it is. I still like Jameson Williams, but yeah, I can't have him at 4 if St. Brown's playing. Even that felt dirty having Jameson Williams where I did. It's against Dallas though, man. Shit. Yeah, it's against Dallas. I got to keep that in mind. I have him right behind T. I'll have him right behind T Higgins. I think I moved T up, and I think I moved. Okay, I'll move JMO ahead of Olave for now. But this feels right. That feels right. Rest of the season, AD Mitchell, Godwin, Michael Wilson. I'm going Michael Wilson. I mean, he's got a real connection with Jacoby Brissett. I don't care that Kyler Murray's practice window's open. I don't. They're not taking Jacoby off the field unless they freaking kill him and drag him off. Is Benson droppable on waivers? Is Chuba Hubbard, Jayden Daniels, Vidal, Rodriguez, or Sharps? My quarterback one is Dak. Here's the problem. You pick up Jayden Daniels and you're gonna be playing matchups between him and Dak, and you could get burned. Dak's been extremely consistent. It sounds crazy, but I don't know that I would. I would maybe pick up Jayden Daniels to play defense. If you want to play defense against somebody, so somebody doesn't have him, then maybe I wouldn't pick up Rodriguez. I wouldn't pick up Sharps. The other guy would be Chuba Hubbard, who looks like he might be fully healthy finally. So if you want to play defense, I'd go Jayden Daniels. If you don't want the headache of possibly going back and forth between matchups, I would go with Chuba Hubbard. Amon-Ra or Mike Egbuka. Well, now I need to go here. I mean, that's the other thing. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown is now I have to look for him. He's not even. I had to add him to the queue of players. Jeez. I mean, Amon-Ra is still a top 30 play. I don't care if he's gotten it out. They're shooting his ankle up. He might be limited mobility wise, but that dude is a tank. Yeah. 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 Terry, one game. I'm gonna go Amon-Ra, Zay Flowers. I mean, I'm putting him like right. I mean, it's like right here behind JMO. I'm just gonna put him back to back. I know it sounds cheesy. Got to be right on one of them. But my thought is Amon-Ra, if he's playing, he's gotten it out. The dude is a freaking warrior. If he's gotten it out and playing, I'm not playing Egbuka over him. Egbuka, the target volume has been so awesome. I think he's got like 40 targets in the last 4 weeks, but he's just not connecting right now. super frustrating. But yeah, I mean, against Dallas, high scoring game tonight. If St. Brown's giving it a go, I'll freaking risk it, man. I ain't not going down with fucking Amon-Ra St. Brown on my bench if I need to win this week and he's playing. Just ain't happening. I ain't overthinking it. I'm putting him out there. It's just is what it is. So yeah. Jameson Williams, RJ Harvey, or Zay Flowers. So I really do like RJ Harvey a lot this week. I would go with Harvey. He's been consistent out of all. Now it's only been 2 weeks, but I feel like I can trust him. I don't care about the guys behind him. I think I can trust RJ Harvey over the rest, over the rest of the guys in this offense. So I think it's Harvey and it's Jameson Williams for me. And I do like Zay Flowers a lot, but it's Harvey and JMO for me. Which defense? Ravens, Colts, Titans, Commanders, or Steelers? I'm having a brain fart. Yeah, Ravens for me. I'll go with the Ravens. The Steelers are kind of shambles right now. I'm going to go with the Ravens. Amari and Hampton, likely in a timeshare. I'm going with Amari and Hampton. Vidal has earned time. I think the difference is when Hampton is back, if he's healthy and ready to go, maybe this week first week back could be a little weird, but rest of the season, I'd rather Hampton's going to have a 65 to 70% share. Oh, and Vidal probably somewhere around 30. Monangai, they keep riding hot hand, like going back and forth. I love Monangai, but I'm going to go with Amari and Hampton. If he's playing, I'm playing him. What are your thoughts on AD Mitchell? I like AD Mitchell. I do. I think it's a solid matchup this week. I think it's fair. I have him at 26. That's decently high. I think that's pretty fair. I mean, AD Mitchell, we could talk about him if you want me to talk about him a little bit more. But let me know if you guys want me to talk AD Mitchell. I can dig a little bit deeper into that. I feel like Benson is not going to make it back. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, the coach speak on Benson's been absolutely ridiculous. I'm getting so tired of coaches and these injuries this year, man. Something's got at the end. If there was one thing that we could count on with the NFL, it was accurate reporting on injuries. We haven't got that this year. I don't know what the heck is going on. The NFL needs to bring back the doubtful tag. The questionable tag is just bullshit. Doubtful needs to come back. When guys were doubtful, there was like a 90% chance they weren't playing. Now we're getting questionable. We're not getting doubtful anymore. We're getting questionable, and it's killing me. So no, they say doubtful, but there's no doubtful tag. I don't think anymore. It's ridiculous. Michael Pittman, Jameson Williams, or Cortland Sutton in the flex. I'll go with Jameson Williams here. I'll go with JMO. James, let's see. Everly said half PPR, pick 2, Swift, Wicks. Ooh, Dortch, Waller, Gadsden, Mechie, Mooney, Downs. Yeah, I'm going Swift for sure. Feels like the safest play here. Then it's really between, for me, John Mechie and Darren Waller. I don't want to start Rondé Gadsden. With Herbert's hand, I think he's going to be okay. But he's going up against the Eagles, and the Eagles' defense has been really, really tough against the tight end position, and Gadsden has slowed down a little bit steam-wise. So I prefer Waller. I mean, first game back, he led the team in yards. So I'm going with Swift and Waller or Swift and Mechie, to be completely honest with you. One of the two there. Do I pick up Vidal over? No. I mean, unless you're really convinced that Hampton's not going to play. I'm not. If trust your gut. I mean, if your gut tells you Hampton's not going to play, then go Vidal. If Hampton's playing, I'm not picking up Vidal and playing him over those guys. AD. Okay. So AD Mitchell. Very, very popular name right now. Gets traded to the Jets. I mean, an absolute, a really, really, really talented player. AD Mitchell, you look at the 40-yard dash, 4.34 speed score. I mean, this guy was uber talented. He's got good catch radius for a guy his size. He slipped though. You see right here, second round, 20th pick. I mean, somewhat character concerns, I think, was partially that, and then that I think he has diabetes as well. I think somewhat of the character concerns was the biggest reason he slipped. Cool thing about Player Profiler is you can even see his coverage matchup, and this is the coverage rating. They projecting Rasul Douglas to be covering him. Um, and Miami right now, wide receiver points allowed, is minus 4.4 in terms of the average points allowed to, points above average. They're giving points below average, so minus 4.4. But the player profiler does project him very well against Rasul Douglas. Now, going into just a little bit of what he has done so far with the Jets. 6 targets, 7 targets, 12 targets. Since Tyrod's taken over these last 2 games, I mean, you're looking at a guy that's had 19 targets. I mean, only connected 2 times here. Nate Wiggins is a good corner. Caught 8 passes for a touchdown, 102 yards, 24.2. I mean, please. I mean, I'm reading. I just read Junie's message that said, "Please don't play," and I don't know why I added please in that message there. But I do like AD Mitchell. I have him as a top play this week. Um, I like fantasy points data too. I go back and forth. I work for Player Profiler, but I also like fantasy points. I think they have a nice data suite as well. So I like to kind of peek over there and just kind of see, what their thoughts are. And with the matchup for AD Mitchell, um, let's see, AD Mitchell. Oh well, you know what? It's frustrating because everyone calls him AD Mitchell, but if you type his name in, it comes up as Adonai Mitchell because his name is Adonai. So they actually don't have his projections on there. So never mind. But either way, I like AD Mitchell a lot. We've talked about it enough. I think he's a solid play this week. Let's go back to the rankings. Uh, I see some questions here. Let me pull the tight end rankings up here really quick because we haven't gotten to them yet. So tight end rankings, we timestamped that. We spent a lot of time on wide receiver. Um, let's take a peek here. So tight end rankings, you're gonna see this is a little different. Maybe surprising. Brock Bowers at 6 against Denver. Let's take a look at Brock Bowers and what he's done, um, the last few weeks. Tight end 1 last week, which is actually kinda crazy, but he did have 2 touchdowns. He only had 4 catches for 63, but he scored twice. Tight end 1, the week before. Oh, this is standard. Sorry, let me switch to PPR. Hold on. Okay, still tight end 1. So tight end 1, tight end 7, tight end 6. Last time he played against Denver, he was tight end 31. Um, I think 6 is fair where I have him. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, "Hey, like, don't start Brock Bowers." But, I mean, it's a tough matchup in my opinion, and, yeah, I mean, I have some concerns for Bowers this week. Geno, last time that they played Denver, it just really looked bad. He got beat up really, really bad, man. Um, then I have Brent Strange at 3. I mean, I love Brent Strange this week. I know it sounds crazy. There's a lot of people on Brent Strange this week. I am one of them. Um, I'm a little ahead of consensus, but consensus is very high on him. But I'm a little bit ahead of consensus. Um, yeah. If you're still here, by the way, make sure you hit that thumbs up and like the show. Um, it must have been a trade that just went down in one of my dynasty leagues. What do we got here? Okay, league safe is being sent. So that means somebody must have sent some future picks. Jackson Dart and a 2026 first round pick for Dak Prescott, Dallas Goddard, and Kenneth Gainwell. That's a pretty bad trade, I think. I mean, I love Dak Prescott, but Jackson Dart is a better dynasty asset than Prescott, I think. I mean, yeah, I would say long term, yeah, but not by much. And to get a first on top of that with Dart seems like a lot. Um, weird. Okay. So let's go back to the tight end position here. Sorry about that. Let's see. Yes, Brenton Strange. I see Mills. Very high on Brenton Strange this week. Um, very, very high. Colts right now this year, fifth in points allowed to the tight end position. Um, I mean they've given up a lot against the tight end position. 16.5 points per game to opposing tight ends. Miami Dolphins surprisingly and I must have missed this miss here, but Miami is third in points allowed at the tight end position. But keep in mind, we like to look in quarters, right? I like to look in four quarters. That's how I think that's the best way to look in at football in quarters because it's different teams. I mean, teams change, right? Like we talked about Miami, they couldn't stop a nosebleed on the ground. Now they're one of the better teams against fantasy running backs. So over the last 4 weeks, Colts have been better, 15th in terms of points allowed to tight end position, 12.8. They've given up 19 catches for 191 and no touchdowns. Now, that's over the last 4 weeks, but that's technically 3 games. Keeping in mind though, Brenton Strange, I mean, no Parker Washington. First game back, 90 yards. I mean, he looked awesome in his first game. So it's not all about, the points. The points allowed in fantasy are a piece of the puzzle, when projecting guys, but it's not the end all be all. That's why I have Brent Strange where I do. Tyler Warren against Jacksonville. Jacksonville Jaguars are eighth in terms of points allowed at the tight end position. I like Warren a lot, 14.5 points. This is the last 4 weeks. And that's a 4-game sample size. Last 4 weeks, I can't control. Some teams had a buy in between that, so I can't really control that. Mark Andrews against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's been bad against tight ends. Kelce revenge game. It's a tough game against Houston. I get that. There's not a ton of logic behind Kelce, analysis where it's like, hey, this is what he's gonna crush them because of this. But it's just a vibe thing here, man. Kansas City backs against the wall. Do they? I mean, Kelce's been good, man. He's been good. Backs against the wall for them. He's been reliable. He's been extremely, extremely good. Props to him. Dalton Schultz. Now, Dalton Schultz was a guy I dropped a video today on Player Profiler for some of my favorite, flyers that are flex plays this week. Dalton Schultz, or sorry, streamers this week, and Dalton Schultz classifies as one. Crazy enough. Dalton Schultz. What can I say about this guy? He feels like he's flying under the radar. 47% rostered right now, 24% start. If you play DraftKings, DFS, $4,000 on DraftKings. Dalton Schultz in his first game back with CJ Stroud, 8 targets, 7 catches, 55 yards in Stroud's first game back. Now, the reason that's important is because with Mills in the game, he was getting a lot of volume. People were saying, well, what's going to happen when CJ Stroud comes back? How does this offense look? Is Mills just keying in on certain guys? Yada, 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 yada. I get it. But Stroud came back and he looked really good. Dalton Schultz. 6 or more targets for Dalton Schultz in 9 out of 13 games this season. Okay. 11 or more fantasy points in PPR in 4 out of the last 5 games this season for Dalton Schultz. Let me scroll this down. I keep forgetting that I can give you guys a little more of a view. I am going to move Mason Taylor up at some point here. So we'll get to him in just a second. But Dalton Schultz, let me go back on my soapbox here. Dalton Schultz, 10th in routes run this season. He's running a lot of routes at the tight end position. That's important. He's involved in pretty much every single pass play that they have. And the Chiefs are 7th in points allowed to tight ends in the last 5 weeks, and they're allowing 17 points per game. So I like Dalton Schultz a lot this week. I really, really do. Mark Andrews is a little frustrating because, this guy had a great matchup last week and didn't do much, but he did just get upped on his contract. Scrolling down here, Kyle Pitts against Seattle Seahawks. Like that matchup a lot for Kyle Pitts. Juwan Johnson, I was going to say something, but I'm not. Juwan at 11, Jake Ferguson at 12. Downgraded Ferguson a little bit. Since Pickens and Lamb have been back, Ferguson has taken a step back, which is understandable. Darren Waller at 13. I love Darren Waller. Love him this week. AJ Barner's been solid. Colson Loveland, solid. Dallas Goedert, Rondé Gadsden, Kate Otten, Mike Gesicki, Evan Ingram. I would love to put Mike Gesicki higher. This is the big name to look at here, though. I mean, Rondé Gadsden, I have him pretty low. Philly, really, really good at defending the tight end position. I do not want to put Gadsden in the lineup, especially with the injury and how they've played. Now, Mason Taylor, let's talk about it. I'm going to put him ahead of Evan Ingram. I know Ingram had a good week last week, but Raiders have been stingy against tight ends as well. I want to put him ahead of Gesicki and Otten and Gadsden. And I think probably about right there is about where I am, right behind Colson Loveland. I would be maybe consider moving Barner down slightly. And honestly, I think I'm comfortable moving. Yeah, no, I'll keep Gadsden there. So that's where we're at with the tight ends. Now, let me keep this on the screen here for you, and let me answer some of the other questions that maybe I've been waiting. Make sure you hit that like button if you are still here. Appreciate the support, guys. Cash Money said, was going to start Jameson Williams over Nico Collins for my wide receiver 3. But now that Amon-Ra is back, do I sit him? I'm starting Puka, Chase already. Went wide receiver heavy this year with draft and trades. In a must-win to get the buy, so I need the safer option. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm starting Nico over JMO, especially if you need the safer option, for sure. Jameson over Buka with Amon-Ra St. Brown playing. I'm still going to go with Jameson Williams. And that's crazy because Ibuka's gotten a lot of volume, but I think it's a high-scoring game. We have no idea. I still going to play Amon-Ra St. Brown for sure, but yeah. What do we got? Need to drop someone for a kicker since St. Brown is playing. Emmanuel Wilson, I have Jacobs, Andrews, or Waller. Yeah, I mean, I'm good dropping Emmanuel Wilson. Waller and Andrews have really good playoff schedules. ETW said McLaurin, Swift, Godwin, or Evans if he plays. I'm not going to play Evans in his first game back. I'm going with Terry comfortably. I like Terry a lot this week. Or Jaden Higgins. My wide receivers are St. Brown, Pickens, Chimere. Okay, you're talking about a guy that you can drop here. I mean, it sounds like you're extremely wide receiver heavy. I would protect Josh Jacobs and I would drop Jaden Higgins as much as I hate it, or I would drop Chimere DK. And with the return yards, I'm keeping Chimere. So I love Jaden Higgins, but I'm dropping Higgins instead of Emmanuel Wilson just because I'd want to protect Jacobs since he already just got banged up. What do you think about starting RJ Harvey over Michael Wilson or Michael Wilson over Justin? Well, I'm starting Michael Wilson over Jefferson anyway. It's a great matchup for Jefferson. It's a great matchup for Minnesota. It's different. St. Brown, I sit here and say I'm not gonna lose this week with St. Brown on my bench. And I get it. Last week of the season, and if you might not make the playoffs depending on what your team is, it's really hard to put Justin Jefferson on your bench. Sitting here, I mean, fuck, man. Like, if you're sitting here and it's been a tough season and you are fighting for a playoff spot this week, and you bench Justin Jefferson, and this is the week that he finally bounces back, and you miss the playoffs after he screwed you for how many weeks? You're going to be pissed. So I like Michael Wilson better. I like RJ Harvey better. But if your gut's telling you to stick with Justin Jefferson because you will not stop thinking about that when the offseason comes because this could be your last week, then just go with your gut. But if your gut's telling you what it's telling me, I'm going with Michael Wilson. And it's a tough matchup with the Rams. I get it. But I think they're going to be behind. I think they're going to throw the football a ton. I think Michael Wilson's going to do what Michael Wilson's been doing. He is legit. This isn't just a random guy. Like, this is a second-round pick. He's a good player. Just hasn't been able to break out because Kyler Murray freaking stinks. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps. Ibuka has sold me the last 6 weeks. I get that. I have CD, Pickens, JMO going. Um, yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Yep, yep. I would start JMO over Ibuka. JMO, T. Higgins, or Travis Etienne. I like T. Higgins. I like T. Higgins a lot this week. I'm going with T. Higgins. I drafted Jaden Daniels, but when I got hurt, I stashed him on IR, used Caleb Williams week 9. I trade for Sutton. Now I have all three. Should I drop Caleb Williams now? Oh, you have Stafford, not Sutton. I don't know why I read Sutton. Yeah, you're dropping Caleb Williams for sure. Out of these three guys, you're dropping Caleb. Stranger or Ferguson? Yeah, Strange. I will show the rankings in case you missed that for the tight ends, but these are where I have my tight ends. Um, yeah, so these are where I have my tight ends. Now it says half point PPR. It's still this is PPR for me, so don't worry about that. Fantasy Pros makes you rank half point PPR first, and yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. Defense, we can go through the defense a little bit. If anybody has questions, I'll just show where I'm at. I posted them on Twitter already. I did post it in the community page. But this is where I'm at. Denver at 1 against the Raiders. I love it. Seattle at 2. Houston at 3. I'm way out on consensus on Houston. People are scared. It's Kansas City, backs against the wall in KC, but Houston's defense is amazing, and Kansas City's missing both of their starting tackles and one of their backup tackles. So, yeah, I like Houston. And I also like Mahomes to maybe play hero ball, maybe make a mistake here or there. Certainly possible. I have Cleveland at 4, Tampa Bay at 5, Rams at 6, um, Eagles at 7. Eagles are interesting. Chargers take a lot of sacks. This is a tough one to gauge for me because no Jalen Carter. The Eagles might slide back a little bit. No Jalen Carter with Herbert, with Hampton back, Herbert's injury. They're going to probably want to get the ball out quick. They're not going to want Herbert to take a lot of punches and a lot of shots. And so, yeah, maybe we bump them down. The more I talk through it. Because I do like Washington. The closer we get, the more I'm getting higher on Washington. Baltimore at 7. I mean, you have Rodgers. They're not taking a lot of sacks. It's a divisional game. Baltimore just lost. They're pissed off. Pittsburgh's pissed off. Both these teams are freaking pissed off. I'm pissed off. Freaking needed Baltimore to show up last week and they didn't. But this team's a little bit of a mess. The Steelers. So I'm going to go with the Ravens here. Not scared of the Steelers offense. So Commanders have 8. Talked about it in the DST streamers. Not a great defense, but they are getting some guys back. They did just get Jackson back this week, defensive end. So they're getting some reinforcements. Eagles now at 9. Dolphins at 10. Colts at 11. Jacksonville gives up a lot of sacks and does turn the football over. Steelers at 12. Steelers are really sketchy, man. Really, really sketchy play. I mean, what defense shows up? The one that just got their freaking balls ripped out of their freaking, I don't even know what to say. Just got their nutsacks freaking ripped out of their freaking crotch, and just pounded by James Cook and the Bills last week. Now they versed Derrick Henry on a week that Derrick Henry didn't have a lot of touches, and they freaking were just bad with his freaking rush touches, whatever, rush touches, whatever. You get the point. I mean, they might make things right for Henry, and I'm a little worried about the Steelers, man. Jacksonville Jaguars at 13, Tennessee Titans at 14. A little below consensus on Titans. I talked about it before. I like the Titans. They're not a bad play, not a bad stream at all. But I worry that the Browns aren't going to throw the ball a ton. And I think Judkins is going to run the ball a lot. It's going to limit the sacks, limit the turnovers. This is not a team that's going to have to play from behind because the Titans are going to have to score points on the Browns defense. So I think, I think the Browns are gonna control the football. Not even like control it, they're gonna dominate either. I'm not even saying that. It could be an ugly game, be a lot of 3 and outs. Um, Atlanta Falcons at 15 against Seattle. Falcons are interesting. Um, but I'm not I mean, it's just how many times can they fuck us over? Uh, I I'm so tired of the Falcons this year, man. Chargers at 16, Packers at 17, Jets at 18 against Miami. Miami, cold going to the cold weather. They don't travel well this late in the year usually. We'll see. Saints at 19, a little ahead of consensus on them. Bears at 20, Bills at 21, Kansas City at 22. I'm very below Kansas City on consensus. Problem is, if you told me this was the beginning of the season, I would be all over Kansas City. But Houston's offensive line has gotten better. Their offense in general has gotten better. And Kansas City cannot rush the passer. Unless Chris Jones has a vintage Chris Jones day, George Karlaftis got paid a big contract and is doing a whole lot of nothing. That team cannot generate pressure. Um, so I mean, maybe Kansas City the low points allowed, like they don't allow a ton of points, but they're just not giving us what we need to have a high end defense. Um, Minnesota at 23. Washington, I get people maybe think that's a great target, but their defense hasn't been the same this year either, which sucks. Because I love Brian Flores' defense when they're firing on all cylinders. It's a fun defense to watch. And then Dallas at 24. You don't care about the rest of those. I mean, you're not starting on any of those guys. All right. A couple more questions here. We do have a super chat just popped in. Will Lutz, Chris Boswell, or Luke? Oh man. Well, you see, I am not the kicker guy, and I feel bad because you did send me a super chat here. So I want to give you an opportunity to ask me another question, because I, I'm not the kicker guy. Now, what I will tell you is our kicker guy did update his rankings and did put them out, and that's Michael Hoff. Now, Michael Hoff has, let's see, Tyler Loop as his 10th kicker on the week. So he's high on Tyler Loop. Boswell, not on this top 12 list, and neither's Will Lutz. So Hoff happens to like the Loopinator, the Loop guy. So, um, so I would go with Loop. And if you are on Twitter, you can at Hoff at the FF Realist. You can tell him that I sent you. He'll gladly answer you too if you tweet at him. He also said, "How do you feel about DJ Moore this week with Rome likely out, or do you like Burden more?" I like Burden more. Burden's been looking really good, and I trust him more. I could see DJ becoming a sacrificial guy. Burden's getting a lot of easy manufactured touches right now. So I would prefer Luther Burden this week if Rome is out. Appreciate the super chat, my friend. Michael said running backs are Kyron Williams, Chase Brown, Woody, Dowdle, Corum, Chubb. Also picked up Bam. Concerned about Williams' coach saying that they may spell Dowdle. May spell him. Dowdle may be in the same timeshare. Woody not catching passes. Do I keep Bam? Oh man, I would keep Bam. I would because Bam has been not a great NFL player, but he's been good for fantasy the last 3 weeks. And I don't know if Trey Benson's coming back, but I will tell you, what I do know is that this is a really solid playoff schedule for the Arizona Cardinals. I think they get the Bengals maybe week 17. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I think they have the Bengals week 17. So yeah, I would keep Bam. Jason Myers is the GOAT kicker. Not gonna lie, got me 20 points last week. I've had Myers on my 14-man league like all year long. You rather drop Tesla or Mooney, picking up Singletary, hoping Tracy's out post by. I'd rather drop Tesla. Um, Mooney. I don't know when Drake London's coming back, man. I mean, if that's a lost season. Again, same thing with Kamara. It's that this is a young player. Like, why push him? Why push him to come back? But he could pull a Joe Burrow and say, "Look, I get paid to play football. If I'm healthy, I'm playing." You know, it's a privilege. So play football. So I get it. Um, and I think Singletary is a fine player to pick up. That's fine. Um, let's see. We got one more in here. Bench Tesla or DK Metcalf? Man. Before the St. Brown news, I had Tesla ahead of DK. With the St. Brown news, I have Tesla behind DK. Thank God I didn't put any bets in for Tesla tonight because I was very close to throwing some stuff in because I assumed St. Brown was going to be ruled out. So, but that's gonna do for me, guys. 7:30. We rocked for a pretty freaking long time. Appreciate all the questions that have came in. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Good luck this week. I'll be back on Sunday morning like I always am. Make sure you guys are ready to go. Let's start these elimination week off strong, and see you guys next.